We might as well get right into this. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Blood, Sweat, and Fears podcast. I'm Dean T. Beirne. I'm joined by my co-host, Alan J. To be honest, we don't quite know what this is going to be yet. All we know is that we're going to be talking about some horror movies, having some good laughs, and just having a gay old time, right, Alan?
Yes.
All right. And to join us in that gay old time, we have one of the best people on the Scottish comedy scene right now. He's won the Stockton Gong. He runs 2 gigs in Glasgow. Please welcome to the podcast, Mr. Peter Bell.
Yes. Woo! I did not ask him to say that.
Actually, before we start, Peter, it's your birthday coming up, right?
It is on Monday, yes.
Yes,
I am now afraid. I'm going to be very hungover because I'm at a festival on Sunday.
The Slam Dunk Festival,
yes,
right? Yes,
indeed, yes.
Well, we've been friends a long time, right? About a year now.
Yeah.
And you always have, let's just say, I don't want to say issues, but... but
I do have issues.
Notable things of sometimes I will get a little bit too Deany, as he says in the chat, and Peter invented this thing named after himself, I think.
Oh yes, I so hope this is real.
What the fuck is in here? So for your birthday, Peter, I got you your very own Dean Bell.
Oh yes, I'm gonna need this today.
Yeah, I was trying to find the hotel one, but they only had this in Tam Shepherd.
This is not going to look good in podcast.
No, it looks fine. It's like...
No, I mean me eating a bag. I've not done that since I was in the garage.
Jesus.
Last time I bought a bell, it was like a £1 novelty horny bell, and when I got to the checkout, it was my fucking cousin that served me.
Where are you buying a horny bell as well?
Home bargains.
Yeah, I should have bought them.
Is it labelled as a horny bell?
Oh, whole bargains.
Oh, I should probably...
Whole bargains. So I don't know if that's going to become an element of the pod going forward or not.
Well, it depends on how Tory you are at any given point.
I mean, that's for you to take home. Like, feel free to bring that out whenever we're on a car journey, whenever we're at a gig, anything, even just...
Souls ever does a discount gong show.
But we'll get straight into it. The movie we decided to pick was a nice little classic. We've gone with 1984's A Nightmare on Elm Street. This is directed by Wes Craven, who did a lot of horror films back in the 80s. He did Scream, Last House on the Left, and this. Sadly passed on now, but a really great horror director. And I think, because you're not a big horror fan, are you, Peter?
No, not really. I mean, I just don't really get them. So it's great to have your opening guest to be someone who has watched maybe 3 in his life and not mostly by choice. So
yeah, but I think it's fair to say like you knew like who Freddy Krueger was and like what Nightmare on Elm Street.
I mean,
was.
I get most of my information from watching The Simpsons.
I knew you were going to bring this up.
So like, they do a Freddy Krueger bit in one of the Halloween specials. So and it was Groundskeeper Willie, which it was perfectly done.
I mean, if you're going to get anyone to be Freddy Krueger on The Simpsons, it's got to be him.
Yeah, exactly.
You couldn't do it with like Mo or something like that, could you?
Does that mean Groundskeeper Willie might be a pedo?
He's an Aberdeen fan. I don't know if that's relevant.
We've just alienated all Aberdeen comedians from this podcast. It's all right. There's only about 4 of them anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
I was about to say, have you seen the attendance at Tannadice? But you won't also. I'm sorry, Aberdeen fans. Just wait till you see John Agasill's bit on it. You'll feel much worse.
John Agassill, friend of the show, John Agassill. We'll get him on this eventually at some point. But you guys have made notes and I haven't, so I think we'll just go straight into that.
I had to make notes because I'd never seen the film before, and I've forgot half a page of my notes. So I'm going to get to a certain point and run out of memory.
So are we doing this chronologically? Are we going through the film?
Just go for anything you want to bring up. Essentially, yeah, we're figuring it out. That's cool.
Okay, my first part is serious commentary. I've not seen every Wes Craven film, but I didn't realise that he did the exact same thing in this film that he ends up doing in Scream, where he like switches the protagonist after like the first act. Because you start off Scream with Drew Barrymore, then she gets killed off, and it happens the same with Amanda Weiss.
That was one of my first questions when I was like, who's the fucking main character?
Oh, Nancy. Yeah.
Well, is it, or is it actually Freddy? I
mean, it's one of those things where it's like slasher movies in the 80s, the killer ends up becoming the star of them, really. But for this, I would say Nancy, but she only shows up in the series, I think, in this Dream Warriors and then New Nightmare, which happens years later.
Where she plays herself.
Yeah, well, she plays herself.
Well,
Yeah.
spoiler alert: she didn't die at the end of this one. That's good to know.
Well, no, I mean, we should get this out of the way. If this is going to be full spoilers, because we can't really talk about it without.
No, I meant for me because I've not seen the other ones, and I just assumed at the end when they were in the car being driven away that they were just going to all get fucking murdered.
Actually, you know what? Fuck being chronological. Can I just talk about this? I fucking hate the ending of this movie so much.
Don't know what it was.
Oh my god!
How can you hate a sex doll being dragged through a window?
Yes, that was. I genuinely laughed out loud at that because the legs stayed perfectly straight as she was right, and I was like, how shite special effects were back then. Like.
I'm pretty sure it's just a blow up doll because they didn't have CGI back in those days.
In editing, we need to get a picture of it up.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. This is Nancy's mum, the blow up doll. What the fuck?
That sounds like a band. Like you'd expect to play Coachella or like Glastonbury Festival. Nancy's mum, the blow up doll.
Oh mate, but like the ending of this really annoys me because like up until then, like the entire final act is like. First of all, it's ripping off Home Alone before Home Alone exists, which I love. And then you have this really cool thing of just Nancy like turning her back on Freddy. You think Freddy's defeated, and then immediately it undoes everything in the ending just so they can set up a sequel.
Can we talk about how irresponsible Nancy was in that ending, like sending up all these Home Alone traps while her mum's just walking about the house drunk? Like she could have went over a fucking tripwire and just got smacked with a hammer.
That would have been really hilarious. That would have been brilliant. Also, setting fire to your own house is a bit extreme as well. But
I mean, you kind of need it with Freddy, though, don't you?
The CGI for when he disappears, it was like Star Trek. You know, the sort of shimmer that comes across as he falls down.
Oh, yeah.
Like they could have just made him disappear like they do with the mum in the bed, but it was like proper. Like if you got to the end of a videotape, I know this is maybe before your it's probably before your time as well.
Oh no, I had videotapes growing up.
Thank fuck. I'm an old man.
Are you?
But yeah, no, that's something I actually wrote in my notes. Who would win in a fight, Nancy or Kevin McAllister?
I think Kevin McAllister's probably got more guts. Like the traps he puts on, like will straight up kill you. I don't think maybe the only thing that would kill Freddy at the end would be the fire thing, but that's not really a trap.
I'm pretty sure most people would struggle to recover from a sledgehammer to the chest.
Not a blow up doll.
No, they're very bouncy.
No, but
I've heard.
It's just like you could recover from that and just have like punctured lung or like broken ribs and that.
Yeah,
and the whatever it was in the living room, like a pipe bomb or something, you could probably survive that. But the Home Alone traps are legit. Like you will die if this happens.
This is when we need Daniel in the corner as the doctor to tell us how lethal these things are.
We'll get him for the human centipede too. They can tell us what works.
Oh, I'm sure he'll love that.
Oh, excellent. Daniel, it's been on the show. It's happening, mate. I'll text you later.
The people are going to demand it now.
But yeah, I reckon I as much as I love Nancy, Kevin McAllister's winning that fight.
Yeah. He's more creative. Mm-hmm. She did something to a light bulb and then it wasn't ever brought up again. Like she cut a hole in a light bulb. She turned off the light and then fuck all happened with the light bulb.
So there's still time for the mother to get fucked.
Oh no, she's already dead. Or a sex doll now. We don't know.
I mean, that is probably the worst nightmare scenario you could have when you die being turned into a sex doll.
Yeah.
Maybe that ending is just like genius level meta stuff that we weren't ready for yet.
I certainly wasn't ready for it. I loved it, but I wasn't ready for it. It was my favourite part of the movie, to be honest.
Maybe it was foreshadowing Dream Warriors. She imagined herself as a sex doll and did the old switcheroo.
Possibly.
So she's still alive.
Is she in Dream Warriors?
I don't know. No, her dad is, but...
no, I meant the sex doll.
The sex doll. I'm going to have to get a fact checker for this later so we can find this stuff out in real time. But, oh man, what else was it? The opening of this movie I fucking love. Like,
but he's making the glove.
He's making the glove. You see Tina walking through the boiler room and stuff, all like the music and everything. Although the sheep showing up out of nowhere was a bit jarring.
Yeah, yeah. I'd forgotten about that, but yeah, no, that does raise other questions. A lamb to the slaughter, maybe.
I suppose so. Yeah, as a play on that.
Yeah, see, I read books and shit.
or I was also thinking it could be like counting sheep, but
yeah, that's actually much more intelligent and related to the story. Yeah.
One thing I always forget every time I watch this film is just how wet he looks. Like, I think they kind of dialed down on that more in the sequels, but like in this one, he looks like
Yeah.
but
proper
you can
moist.
smell him. Moist Freddy.
He seems to live in a drainage facility though, so it's not that surprising. And it does happen when you get blisters. But that's medically useful, but not funny.
We really do need Daniel for this show. Actually, I want Daniel to just like because they don't explain how Freddy comes back from the dead in this one. You get that later.
I don't think a doctor will be able to do that. I don't think it's a medical thing.
Yeah, but like, could you imagine the people in the 80s, like, because you know how everyone's like micro-analyzing movies nowadays? Like, there would be a bunch of people in the 80s being like, how does Freddy come back from the dead? And pure, like, I don't know. Like, I'm sure you've seen like the YouTube things where it's like they will get one little nitpick from a recently movie and it will just be 20 minutes of pure nonsense. I wonder what that was like in the 80s. Was it just like opinion letters coming into like...
People seem to be a lot easier impressed back then.
True.
Yeah.
Because you didn't like it.
I didn't dislike it.
There are definitely
other
worse
80s
movies we could have made you
Yes,
watch.
and there's other 80s movies you watch back and you go, how were people impressed by the CGI in this? You know, it's not unique to Nightmare on Elm Street by any stretch of the imagination.
Nah, but I love the inspiration behind this movie because it's a great little story I saw with Wes Craven. His inspiration from Freddy came from, I think, his cat was scratching a couch. And that gave him the idea for a guy with a glove.
Like, oh, I'd love to murder some kids. Yeah.
No, not just murder.
Maybe fuck them.
We will get into this because we have had this discussion surprisingly outside of the pods.
Yes.
I was adamant that Freddy was not a nonce. Peter was adamant that he was, even though he hadn't seen any of the movies. But was that because Freddy just gives off a nonce vibe?
No, it's because I'm sure I heard that he was a paedophile. But there's lots of things in the film, and like we were talking about this, there's lots of things in the film that make me think he is a paedophile. One, where he comes up through the water in the bath, he's between her legs.
Fair enough, yeah.
Two, he's only got that in one hand. What do you think he's doing with the other one? Three, he runs like a paedophile. He does.
That's why he has those big arms all there to grab
Exactly,
all the kids.
Oh man, the big arm.
It's like Mr. Tickle, definite nonce. Like it's.
Oh god, if they ever did like Halloween editions of Mr. Men, I would love to see that.
I've written nonce down on a bit of paper a couple of times. Oh yeah,
Just like one of your comedy sets.
yeah, basically. I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy.
Yeah, okay,
pretty
I'll give you
noncy.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, and the phone when he licks her mouth.
Yeah.
That's a bit noncy.
Yeah, lots of things to suggest that he is a paedophile, and then also Wes Craven apparently.
Yeah, Wes Craven, I looked this into like the Never Sleep Again documentary. It was that he wanted Freddy to be the most evil thing he could imagine, and that was a paedophile.
And a burn victim.
Fucking hell.
Oh man, but that was like the worst thing you could think of. But the studio had pushback on it because they didn't want it to be seen as like exploiting the whole pedophile thing that apparently was going on in the 80s. You know, this is a time where it's like
It's the whole
Mullets,
thing.
flares, and fucking
Stop
kids.
exploiting paedophiles.
yeah, but it's like it's that time where it's kids going missing, like appearing on milk cartons and shit like that. You had a comment to this that I've not forgotten since, but like every adult in this world would definitely vote Tory.
100%. Have you seen the houses they live in? And then they're all just drinking. They hate their kids for some reason. There's no black people. Like, it's definitely, that's a Republican. I don't know where it's fucking set.
It's Springwood, so I think it's Ohio probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always assume it's California because for some reason every slasher movie seems to be set in California.
Yeah, but there was not once was there a Mexican working in the garden. It's not California.
Yeah, with his skin, we don't know if Freddy's black and they just made up the killing kids thing.
Well,
Like, why'd you get rid of him? Oh, well, he was
we
killing
have a
kids.
picture of what Robert Englund looks like, so we can.
I'd also say like Kruger is a pretty German surname. And I don't know if you remember the 40s, but
Is Freddy Krueger a Nazi?
possibly. Oh my god. Well, they did say he wanted to make them the worst thing ever.
Fair
Paedophile Nazi. Which would be a much better name for the film, Paedophile Nazi.
Oh god, no.
Well, you got your episode title then.
That's definitely going out as a clip, man.
I could have called it Nancy and Nazi.
There's another thing. He does wear a fedora.
Just everyone who wears fedoras is like, well, are they
No,
Nazis?
no,
Are
so
they
he's-
Nazis, pedophiles, or Tories?
He's
Like,
so he's an incel,
okay, fair play.
and therefore to nonsense. That's what
I think you find most slasher killers are a bit incelly. It
Yeah.
tends to be a theme of them, really.
yeah, like that. They didn't fit at summer camp, so they
Yeah, you
got
never
started.
see a popular kid being a serial killer in a horror film.
No, not really. No.
No, they're usually like the first victim.
Yeah, they've got so much to live for. That's why.
This is well, actually, no, the horror genre has changed a lot. So, like, so what happens back in the 80s now doesn't happen now. So, like, for example, you know, the whole rule of like, you've got to be a virgin to survive a horror movie.
And a virgin to watch.
I'm
them.
in.
Yeah.
Let's fucking let's do it.
Well, it's not happening now because I've watched some slasher movies lately. I won't spoil this because there might be some people who have not seen this, but there is a moment where a particularly famous slasher killer is unmasked, and one of the lines is, now die a fucking virgin, as soon as the final girl kills her. So virgins can apparently die in horror films now.
It's a bit time.
Yeah. Well, they never really bring that up in this. Like,
No, but they were all shagging.
I assume Nancy is not a virgin. It's like,
Well, was she not shagging that guy?
no, Johnny Depp
You never
fucks,
see it,
like,
though.
so. Oh yeah, we also should have mentioned that this is Johnny Depp's first movie.
Yes,
Yeah,
and he was murdered in bed. Not the worst thing to happen to him involving a bed, to be honest with you.
I knew this was going to come up immediately.
Yeah, I know, but when it comes to beds, Johnny Depp has put up with a lot of shit.
Yeah. And that leads me to my second question. Do you think that Freddy Krueger would keep his position in Aquaman 2 if he...
Oh no, but you know, even the creepier thing about that is that I don't know how old Amber Heard is, but I'm pretty sure she was born after this movie came out.
I'd imagine so, yeah. In fact,
Or so we heard.
yeah. Johnny Depp is not a nonce to our knowledge.
No.
just to be clear.
Although if he did come back and play Freddy in like some weird meta sequel, I would watch that.
Yeah. I don't know if it's really
He just
his
comes
style
back
of
up
film.
and he's covered in blood and he's got the glove and shit.
I read
That's
that
how he dies.
he was actually supposed to rise from the bed after that scene, but they
Oh
cut
yeah,
it
they
out.
deleted that scene because I think it just like it went on for too long or something like that.
I mean, with the quality of CGI we've seen, it'd probably just be a sex doll that was coming out of the bed. So
See, I don't know if that blood was CGI or not.
well, it wasn't blood.
Well, of course it's not real blood. It's like it'll be corn syrup or some shit, but it looks like a fucking fountain.
Yeah.
I think that was probably my favorite death because before it, his dad's like looking at Nancy's house. He's like, I don't want our kid hanging with her anymore. And it's like, well, finger curls on the monkey's paw because that's not going to fucking happen. Then they just have their son leaking through the living room ceiling.
Yeah. He did have an awful lot of blood.
Yeah,
Like, it's a shame he wasn't a donor, really. I mean, there's so much that is seeping through, presumably insulation, into the living room. And the dad is remarkably calm about the situation afterwards.
well, it's the 80s. You know, it's that Reagan era. The dads are all got to be like, yo.
Also, Nancy wore blue to his fucking funeral. What's that about? That's
The
no
80s.
That did not happen in the 80s.
Yes, as we know, Peter was in his 80s when. this came
Yes.
out.
Gingers are immortal. Scientific fact. But also, like, another one of our pals gets killed and she's like, I'm just going to go to school the next day. It's like, you're clearly not bothered by any of this.
But she does say, like, if she stays in her room, she'll just go crazy. Which, I mean, fair enough. If I'm living with Nancy's mum, I'd rather go to school.
Just have a drink with her. She's getting on it anyway.
Yeah, but the drink she's got, I don't know what she's drinking, but
It looks like peach schnapps to me, but I don't know. And peach schnapps, alright.
I assumed it was gin for like the longest time.
It could be, but it looks like a peach schnapps bottle.
She drinks a lot less in the film than I remembered because I like took notes of where she has it and there's
Aye.
like her kitchen, obviously, but then she keeps a stash in the towels and then
Yeah.
she just keeps a bottle in her bed as well.
Yeah, I'm surprised there wasn't one in the bathroom, actually.
Well, that you
I
saw.
mean,
They did have stay awake pills. Which is another point I thought, like, this film could like be so easily solved if everyone just invested in cocaine and a sawn-off shotgun. Like, he's coming at you with them and you're just like, oh, fuck it.
yeah, cocaine's probably better because this bitch is keeping like a big fucking coffee maker just right under her bed.
It's a lot easier to hide.
But I do feel if you had a sawn-off shotgun, because like, see when you're dreaming, basically you're in Freddy's world, so he'd be able to just, you'd be pointing the sawed-off shotgun and it would probably just bend the other way back and just shoot you.
Quicker death, though, isn't it?
It is a quicker death than being clawed to death by that thing. Which, I mean, it's a cool fucking horror weapon, as far as horror weapons go.
Yeah. It's not efficient, though, is it? I know he's got the stretchy hands and all that, but if you're quick, just fucking sprint.
Which does bring me on to a classic Dean T. Burns story.
I'll get the bell ready, guys.
So, my first experience with Nightmare on Elm Street was back in like 2010, I think, when the remake was coming out. And I really loved this YouTube channel that made like film props and stuff. It was called Indie Mogul. And they did an episode where they made Freddy's glove. So I immediately, I'm going to go do that. I go grab a gardening glove from outside, got some cardboard, spray paint it to look like distressed metal, some plastic knives, because I'm not a fucking psychopath. Spray paint them silver, put it on, and I bring that to school the next day.
Was this in Dubai?
Yes.
Fucking hell.
I generally had it out like during registration, just like showing my friends and that.
I mean, sidetrack. Did you ever feel the need to come out, or was it just taking us?
Well, I mean, horror's a very queer-heavy genre, so
It's
like
very true.
It's
Very true.
probably one of the reasons I did come out, because I was a big horror fan as a kid.
Oh, there you go.
For me, it was because I was a big cock fan. Everyone has a different story.
There you go. There's a clip.
Oh, this is going really well.
Fun fact, when I was reading about the film, the knives that they used for his glove were tomato knives.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, me neither.
Neither
and
did
I'm
I.
like, and I'm like pretty Tory when it comes to food.
It's true.
80s.
It's true. I have 3 sharp knives. They're all just the same knife but different sizes. That's it.
You got your little knife for like slicing spring onions, your big knife for chopping stuff, and
No, the little knife is for opening packages. The middle knife is the only one I use for food, and the big knife is just in case someone breaks in.
yeah, I have one of those, but it's just because I can't use a can opener, so I have to stab a can to get it open.
Oh, sorry. How
Can openers are so fucking confusing, mate.
They're not.
They are.
They're not.
Every time I try, it always ends up ripping the fucking paper apart.
You are so autistic, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, I bet that's what would happen if I ended up in like Freddy's world. I would be like strapped to like a massive can, and then there's just a can opener constantly coming towards me.
Or if you were Freddy, you were just struggling to use the glove.
I wish I still had that glove. I sadly had to bin it after about 2 years because you can't really use it for anything else other than a Halloween party, can you?
No.
I didn't even bring it into school during the Halloween times because it was like April when the Nightmare on Elm Street remake came out.
Oh,
Yeah.
You're a very special boy.
Yeah. I also in this time I made Wolverine claws out of plexiglass. Didn't bring those into school for obvious reasons.
Where did you get plexiglass?
I knew a guy who like worked in like fucking and my dad had a lot of tools and I didn't have any friends to hang out with on the weekend at this time. I was a very bored boy. But like I tried to go and see the remake actually when it did come out. I was like 14 at the time. I thought I'm going to use it to try and ask this lassie out who I fancy, like take her to a horror film and that. She agreed. Ends up busy. I was quite a charming guy back in high school, I'll have you know. But ends up busy on the day, so I think, well, I'm not going to go miss it because the movie looks pretty cool. Spoiler alert, it's not. The Nightmare on Elm Street remake is fucking shit. But I get turned away at the cinema and then thought, I still want a horror movie experience. So I take the Dubai Metro all the way down to Karama, where they had the last like video store, and they just gave me a copy of the original Nightmare on Elm Street for nothing because they were going out of business.
oh.
And thus my love for horror was born then.
I can't believe they still had video stores when you were at that age, man. That blows my mind.
Yeah, I think it was like this was the last era of like the Blockbuster stuff happening.
We had a Global.
Which
Which was ironically, I think, the only Global in the world.
didn't they have Blockbuster Video here in those times?
They did, but the one local to me was a Global Video, it was called.
Damn, fucking A.
Yeah.
See, my like introduction to horror stories a lot more Glaswegian because I would just like let them play on the TV when my mum was gouching for Valium. Like, what's on the telly? Oh, and like, yeah, it was Nightmare on Elm Street 3, and like the scene I always remember terrifying me was just the shitty old CRTV, and he was like the puppet scene where pulls all these tendons out.
Oh yeah, it's
and
from
he's just
Dream
kind of
Warriors.
walking. Oh, yeah, that
It is quite a cool kill. Like that's something I'll give this series over a lot of other slashers. The kills in this are so creative.
Oh yeah.
Like that one in Dream Warriors also, where it's like I'll send you a clip later, but it's like this guy who he can't walk, can he? Is that his thing?
No, I think that was someone else.
Yeah. Well, basically, like I think he's like obsessed with puppets or some shit, and Freddy rips out his tendons to look kind of like puppet strings, walks into the edge of this thing, and then just slices them off.
Yeah, that's not very nice.
Freddy is not a very nice man.
He's a bit of a prick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
quite rude.
I mean, a guy who kills children and then gets off on a fucking technicality. I love that he gets off on a legal technicality, and he's literally been killing kids.
Aye, someone signed the paper in the wrong place. The search warrant was signed in the wrong place, and they're just like, well, fuck it, let him go then. Rather than, should we do a retrial for this? No, fuck it.
Nah, but then the parents, of course, this is the story of how Freddy is born. They take it upon themselves to go to his boiler room, set him on fire, and the rest is history.
Yep.
And then he comes back as this big fucking dream demon thing. The only thing I question in that is that if he did got set on fire, why has he still got his sweater on? Surely that would have burned up as well.
Maybe he got a new one. Or he owns more than one sweater. I don't know.
Because I always assumed like the glove was like welded to his hand. Like he never takes it off.
Because she has the glove. The mum has the glove. Remember, she shows it to Nancy.
Oh shit, yeah.
Yeah, she's got the glove. So presumably, like, always closing that, he was just like, fuck it.
Dream Primark.
Aye.
Now that's something I would love to see Primark do, like a Freddy glove.
I mean, I did have a very Freddy-esque jumper that I got from H&M. So
Was it this one?
no,
That's Dennis the Menace.
no. It didn't have the wee. I'm not that, like, I don't dress like a goth. I just listen to the music. That's
Which is one of the most annoying things about you. I want to see you in goth clothes.
no, you don't.
I really do. I after this, I'm gonna hunt through your Facebook to see if I can find any, and
Oh,
then
no,
we're gonna put that as the thumbnail.
You won't. I very much dressed like a school shooter when I was in school, but like the one that gets out of math club. Like, you know, I had a pie joke on a jumper I used to wear regularly. So that was, yeah.
So that brings me on to, if you were in one of Freddy's little nightmare things where he's playing on your fears, what's happening in yours?
No, this is a very
Social
fortunate
interaction.
thing. Women. No, I'm very,
Dean?
yeah. No, that's not.
Hey, we are good friends.
Yes, that's not fear. That's pity. It's different. No, I'm very fortunate. For the majority of my adult life, I lucid dream, so I'm usually aware that I'm dreaming, or that the normal rules don't apply. So basically, in most of my dreams, I'm essentially Superman. So I just melt his fucking pan, and like, he's got no chance. I'd kick his gun and
You'd melt him more than he actually is.
I meant in the Glaswegian sense of I'd batter fuck it. I'm not actually going to melt him.
I mean, you said Superman, and he's got heat vision.
He
so
does, yes.
That's
yeah.
where my mind went.
Yeah. So I'd just kick his head in, man. It'd be easy. Piece of piss.
Same for you, Alan.
Spiders.
Spiders.
That's not a very original answer. But
No.
like,
Nah.
my three fears are death, being alone, and spiders. So I feel like
All three of those could happen at the
Yeah.
same moment. Like,
Yeah. Well, no, you would not alone. You've got a spider.
Or they brought loads of friends with them. I imagine that's even worse.
Yeah.
Oh,
The sea. I don't like the sea.
This,
So being serious, if I was actually going to have an out, it would probably be in the middle of the fucking ocean.
it's just. I'm pretty sure there is a death like that in one of the later sequels where it's like a parody of Jaws, and like Freddy's glove is like the shark fin.
Oh yeah, I could see that happening. What about you then?
I reckon it'd be the same for me. I'm petrified of the ocean, but I'm
Yeah.
also scared of a lot of things. Like Bunsen burners freak me out. Because I was terrified of fire as a kid, and like I would refuse to use the Bunsen burners in science class.
get the bell.
I just like the idea of Freddy turning himself into a Bunsen burner. Although I don't think he'd do that after what happened to him. I think
No, I reckon he's got like a full-on PTSD when it comes to anything fire-related, which I draw question why he's in a boiler room.
Yeah. Well, when he caught fire, because that's where he died, didn't he? He died in the boiler room.
Yeah.
So when he caught fire at the end of this movie, he yells like Arnie. Like it's, yeah. And I was genuinely like, where's this come from? Well, the whole film you've been eloquent. I suppose he has been burned alive. That would do that.
True, yeah. I mean, we can't
Not
really
alive.
test that.
Alive?
Well, sort of.
Like, sure, they should be used to it at that point.
Burnt, reanimated, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, we're getting bogged down in details that are really not relevant. Is he alive? I think that's the entire...
I do appreciate that the when he is on fire, though, it's an actual stuntman. I'm a big film nerd, so I like little stuff like that. Whereas in the remake, it shows you a flashback of Freddy getting burned, and Jackie Earle Haley, who's playing Freddy in the remake, just runs out of the fucking boiler room on fire, and the CGI is some of the worst shit I have ever seen.
It's quite hard to do believably, so it is better to use a stuntman.
Yeah, 100%.
But it wouldn't be me.
Nah.
I'd get sunburnt.
Is that how they would burn you if you were Freddy Krueger?
To be fair, there's a lot of lights in this room. I'm slightly worried about it.
So, how do you feel around like Robert Englund as Freddy? Because he's quite an iconic horror villain, but like, would you put his performance up there with like what's a generally good acting performance?
I don't think anyone in this film did a genuinely good acting performance, but I mean, how many people had a career after it other than Johnny Depp?
Heather Langenkamp's been in some good stuff, I guess.
No shit. No. Do you know what she's been in? Exclusively horror films. Because I looked up all these actors, and the only films they've ever been in, apart from Johnny Depp, is exclusively horror.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just Wes Craven and Johnny Depp that got the most out of this.
Yeah, pretty much. Although Robert Englund got to be in countless other films. So.
I mean, he's like a character actor, but like that's the kind of actor I tend to gravitate more towards because they always have more fun in roles.
Yeah, at the start you can tell that he's having fun with it, but also quite serious. But then as it goes on, you can tell that he's just kind of having a laugh with himself.
Which I wish they would have kept for the fucking sequels because Freddy becomes a fucking joke in the sequels.
Yeah. He was quite good in it. I'll give him that. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the opening nightmare thing where it's not the first one, but like when he's chasing Tina and like cutting his finger off and stuff. Like,
why did he do that?
I think it was just to fuck with her.
I know. It's harder to grab.
I assume it grows back because like his face peels off as well.
Oh yeah,
like
that's true. Yeah,
looks like something out of Pirates of the Caribbean, ironically, because Johnny Depp's in this movie.
Yeah, that is true. He had a better time in Pirates of the Caribbean, to be fair.
I would love to see Jack Sparrow go up against Freddy Krueger. Just because the Pirates movies need better villains.
They need better everything. I'm just here slating every film that people like to do. I'm not normally like that. I'm not a contrarian.
You can be pretty contrarian sometimes.
Yeah, I'm very set in my ways.
Yes, indeed. So, anything else you guys wanted to bring up?
One thing I wanted to ask is, so Nancy keeps herself awake by keeping a coffee maker under her bed. If you guys had to stay awake, how would you do it?
I can't say for legal reasons.
I'd probably just stick Jaws on the TV because I'd be constantly entertained.
So strange. It's a very unusual way of method.
Or just watch it in my head.
Yeah, I've got pretty good willpower with that kind of stuff. I used to be at parties where other people would be enjoying certain things and I wouldn't partake, and I would just be able to stay awake and drink through it the entire thing. So I'd like...
Yeah, I've been on a night out with you and that's...
Yeah, so like... will keep me going for a very long time, and then as soon as I leave to get home, I'm like falling asleep on public transport. It's not great, but yeah. So I just find a way. But yeah, probably illegal substances. Bear in mind, this is a Freddy Krueger situation.
I wouldn't want Freddy Krueger to have me when I'm sleep deprived though, because I don't think he could handle my level of autism when that happens.
Yeah, the first person that he ever just goes, you know what? No, you're not fucking worth the effort, mate. I'm just.
I mean, that time at the Salsa Christmas party, I think I was so sleep deprived I started a war with some pigeons outside of George Square.
What about yourself then?
I'd probably pay someone to just keep kicking me in the balls because I've done that already.
But surely that would make you want to curl up and rest though, like.
It's very hard to sleep.
Yeah, but not sleep.
It's very hard to sleep when you've got a sore ball.
You could have the sledgehammer that Nancy uses at the end.
Oh,
I think that's a bit more extreme.
I mean, it looks like a pretty fake sledgehammer.
Oh yeah. But I'm imagining, yes, most of them will be. He wasn't actually set on fire.
Well, the stuntman was, but he would have been wearing something that like protects him from it.
Yeah.
One thing I was wondering is at the end, Nancy brings him into the real world. At the end, does the mother end up taking him back into the dream world?
I don't know. Like I said, the ending's so weird.
Yeah, like she just kind of like sucks him into the bed, not off in the bed, into the bed. So like,
she has to make her booze money somewhere.
guess so. Like, but no, doesn't Freddy like go back to the dream world because Nancy refuses to give him any power?
See, I don't. That was a bit of a fucking weird thing. Like, I don't believe in you now, so you have no power over me. Like,
some of the acting that Heather Langenkamp does is pretty laughable.
Yeah,
it's
choices.
Like, particularly the one that has always stuck out to me is like, that's a weird way to read that line, is like near the beginning where they're talking about Freddy, and then Tina's going on about like, oh, you've had this guy with razor knives, and Nancy just goes, no way, that reminded me of the dream I had last night.
Yeah,
like that's 80s horrors for you.
Yeah,
Wes Craven hadn't quite honed the directing actors bit until Scream, I guess.
there was also a bit. It was just after Glenn's killed, and the ambulance shows up, and one of the police officers says, "You won't need a stretcher, more like a mop." And I feel that's not showing deference to the situation. There's a teenage boy's just been brutally murdered, and he's like, "I've got a great line for this," you know.
Knowing Glenn's dad, though, I reckon he would definitely give that mop to the grieving mother.
Yeah. And Nancy's dad was a bit of a cunt as well.
Oh, but I do love John Saxon, great character actor of the 80s.
I just like having like an open casket funeral with just the mop head poking out the coffin.
Oh, why is that not in the film? Then, in that circumstance, I would forgive her for wearing blue. Because that's fine. Now, you know, just have a bit of fun with the funeral, guys. You know?
Oh, Nancy loves the Rangers.
Oh, yeah. Oh, one guy was not mentioned. I was like, I swear they brought this guy in from the fucking 50s, Rod.
Oh, yeah. Danny Zuko.
Yeah, I want to say it's like 70s style he's wearing, but it looks straight up 50s musical.
Yeah.
Like Greaser.
Yeah.
And I mean, he probably has, like, in his mind, I think, the scariest death, because he's just been accused of murdering his girlfriend. He's all alone. He gets hung by his bed sheets, and they get him just when his neck cracks.
Yeah.
Like, it's not of the kills on this, I would say it's the weakest to watch, but like to experience, I imagine would be the worst.
Yeah. It wouldn't be fun at all, no.
No.
I don't think anything would be particularly... Although when she's getting flung about, that might be a bit of a laugh. It's like a roller coaster, you know.
The Universal Studios should get on that.
I felt quite bad for Tina because the scene before that is she's keeping them up by getting pumped, and then she gets immediately murdered, so she gets torn open like twice in one night.
It's also that classic 80s film of you don't realise it till you start to think about it, but what you're actually doing in that circumstance is listening to two people that are supposed to be teenagers having sex, and you go, I'm not sure this is okay, to be honest.
The 80s, they were probably at least 27.
Oh yeah, no, they were definitely adults. You could tell with Nancy, they're like, how are we going to make her look younger? Give her freckles, you know. That's basically it.
She's straight up like the way Nancy is. It almost reminds me of how like Dorothy is in The Wizard of Oz. It's very much a similar kind of arc she goes through.
Yeah, very ditzy at the start, and then I mean, what was one of the first scenes where they hear a noise in the back garden, and then Rod tackles him?
Oh yeah, and it's just Johnny. I think it's just Johnny Depp.
They hear a noise and they send a guy in a sweater vest out to investigate. See, I genuinely at that moment wrote down, these guys are fucked. Like,
I think Glenn gets abused so much, like when he falls asleep and Nancy's like, oh, you fucking shit. What did you do? I asked you to help me stay awake. I'm like, Glenn's going through this shit as well, Nancy. Like, I
would also say she didn't ask him to stay awake. She said, I'm going looking for someone, can you stand guard? And then she proceeded to go to bed. So she's just like, what the fuck? Fuck Nancy.
To Nancy's credit, I think she does become a much better character in the sequels. Like when in Dream Warriors, where she's like a dream psychologist and she's helping out all the other kids who have dealt with Freddy. Then in New Nightmare, she's just playing herself, and you will love this. Like the whole setup of New Nightmare is that in the world, Wes Craven plays himself, and he is trying to write Freddy Krueger for a new script so that the actual Freddy Krueger demon is kept in hell and doesn't come out. But of course, the Freddy Krueger demon does escape. And it's like some whole meta contextual thing on the Hollywood industry.
See, that just sounds like
Freddie Weinstein.
It's pre-Scream Scream. Like, it
just sounds like there's an element of what we would say in Glasgow is wanky. It's self-congratulatory, really, isn't it? It's masturbating over your own work, you know.
Yeah, I don't think you'd want to do that with Freddy's glove, though. Like,
No.
I imagine masturbating becomes quite
No,
hard
that's
for
again.
Freddy.
That's what his other hand is free for. Get over this.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I think people used to tell me I looked like Heather Langenkamp because when I was in school, they kept saying, you look like a Nancy. They must have meant her.
I was generally just looking at your face there trying to find hell.
I forgot what the actress's name was, and I was like,
Oh, God.
that's good. We've got an actual joke in the show. Well done.
Oh, that's if I could compare this actually slightly to the remake, actually, Rod's death, it may be like the weakest one of this movie, but in the remake it's even worse. It's like the guy's named Jesse instead of Rod. He's just a guy who's like the ex and everything. You see him in the prison, and then Freddy's hand just like goes through his chest. It's not particularly very creative, but the funny part of that is like in the dream world he's dying, but in the real world he's still in the cell with a cellmate. And then you just see the cellmate banging on the door saying, "It wasn't me, I'm innocent."
Great alibi.
Well, to be fair, I think the fact that you don't have any sharp objects would probably be a pretty solid alibi.
You brought up that Nancy's dad was a dick. That thing I've never quite understood. Did he actually use her to catch Rod at the beginning? It seemed like a coincidence.
It's a bit too much of a coincidence, though, isn't it? That's something else. Like, he wasn't wearing shoes at that point, Rod.
No.
And then I've seen a bunch of other people walking out in that film outside, just cutting about with no shoes on.
Yeah, a lot of feet in this movie.
And then Johnny Depp,
The Quentin Tarantino director.
Glenn was wearing the shoes in bed.
Is that the most outrageous thing in this movie for you?
No, that was the moment where I was like, this film is the opposite of autism. That like. Also, how did he fall asleep with a TV balanced on his cock? Like, surely. Because it was sat right there, and I was like,
I mean, it's the same weight as like a laptop would be now, isn't it?
no,
It's a big
it's an
set.
80s TV, mate. You needed two people to lift those, man. They were fucking heavy.
I'll take your word for it.
I wasn't alive in the 80s, I should add, but we did have an 80s TV. Mm-hmm. We were scheme kids.
Hard times.
Yeah.
Hard times, yeah. I've never had an 80s TV. No.
You feel very grateful. They were, I think it was made of wood, and I'm not even making that up.
I do miss retro TVs though. They're really fun for gaming.
Yeah, but it's kind of shite as well. They look cool, but that's about it.
Like, have you ever tried to play like a PS1 or a PS2 game on a modern TV? It just doesn't look good.
No. But then again, if you went back and played it on an old TV, it would still look shite.
Yeah, but it would look less.
PS1 Hagrid is going to look like that, regardless of what you're playing it on.
Yeah, Lara Croft is still going to look like a sex doll hiding a Toblerone in the
Yeah. I mean, did this movie inspire Lara Croft then?
Maybe.
Yeah, the ending of it.
What's your track for that?
Oh, the sex doll.
I love Alan's just so nice. He was just like, yeah, maybe, whatever, Dean. Sure.
Oh,
Let's go with that.
where else?
I had a segment idea.
Yes.
Yes.
I looked up some facts about the film. I've got 5 facts.
All
You
right.
guys have to guess if they're true or false.
Okay.
I'm going to suck balls at this, man.
So the first one. In France, this is quite easy. The film was renamed to The Claws of the Night. True or false?
I think that is true.
I'm gonna say true.
That one is true.
Yeah.
3. Bollywood ripped off Nightmare on Elm Street in
True.
1994 with a film called Mahakal, aka The Monster.
If you're saying true, I will go false.
I'm just assuming that's true because I've seen Bollywood movies of everything.
Yeah,
There's
that-
one of The Fault in Our Stars, which is fucking weird.
That one is true. After a long day of filming, Robert Englund fell asleep in his dressing room in full Freddy makeup and said that when he woke up, he got a terrible fright.
False.
I'll go true then.
You're both correct, because that did happen on the set of Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
Trick question, Alan.
After many sleepless nights, Nancy looks in the mirror and says, "My God, I look 20 years old." And during filming, Heather Langenkamp was actually 20 years old.
I'd believe it.
That's awfully young for a film, like for an 80s actress to be playing a teenager. I'll say false. I'll say she's older.
That one was true. She was 20. Finally, during filming Tina's death scene, actress Amanda Wiss. Wait, how do you say that?
I have no idea.
No one cares. It's Tina. During filming Tina's death scene, actress fell and knocked her head on a sideboard, giving her a concussion, causing filming for that scene to be rescheduled.
Knowing what they were doing in that scene, I would say true.
But would they reschedule it? What? It was the 80s and it was a female actress. They weren't like valued back then. They were just like, fucking keep going, hen. No, I think it's false.
It's false.
Yeah.
That's false.
But there was a day during a chase scene with Freddy, Heather Langenkamp did cut her leg and it was bleeding, so she went to the hospital, but she was back at work that day.
See?
It's just like how the doctors treat her in the movie, to be honest.
Oh, you're crazy.
To be fair, though, I think I'm on their side with that. If someone comes in, says there's a guy trying to kill me in my sleep and he's killed 2 people already in their sleep, I'd be like, aye, sure, hen.
Yeah, like, it is very fair. Like, in a lot of horror movies, you feel like the parents are being really stupid, but, like, if there is a child killer that was maybe around at the same time your kids were young and now your friends are dying, you think, yeah, it sounds like she might have went a wee bit fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but where'd she get the hat from? How do they explain that?
Oh, Nancy.
It's impossible to get a hat, Dean. You know that.
Oh, but you're telling me the doctors are thinking she's just snuck a fedora in because she's so committed to the bit.
Yes.
Is she a prop comic? Is that what we're saying?
I'm sorry, but I would argue that it is far more likely that someone managed to sneak a fedora in than she brought it out of her dream. What, you think she snuck it in? That's ridiculous, Pierre. She obviously pulled it out of her imagination.
I love this because this clearly shows the different kinds of autism we are.
Yeah.
You are like Mr. Facts. This
Yes.
is right. This is science. This is everything. And I'm like, let's imagine for a moment.
Yeah.
I wish they played more around with the fact that you can actually, like, take things from dreams. Like, 'cause if you can dream up anything, as they establish in the third one, you could steal some good shit.
Yeah. 100%.
But they never really went around with that.
What would you steal then if that could happen? Like,
Ryan
would you dream
Gosling's
of-
cock.
What, are you ripping it off? Or are you taking Ryan Gosling?
I
with-
don't need the rest.
Yeah, he might have given it willingly. I don't know.
Weirdly enough, actually, if they ever did like a new Nightmare movie, I could see Ryan Gosling playing Freddy.
Really?
I think, and don't take this the wrong way as a horror fan, I think he's above that now, to be honest.
I mean, he's playing the Wolfman. He's doing a remake of that, so
Furries will be happy.
yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
And I believe like when they've not like said anything about like a new Nightmare movie, but every slasher has come back now, so I imagine it's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
But Kevin Bacon is currently the front runner from the fans to play a new Freddy because Robert Englund can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
Jackie Earl Haley. I thought he was actually okay.
He was
Then it's
fine,
been
but
years.
he played it too much as Rorschach with a burnt face.
Yeah, he really went in on the rapey thing.
Yeah,
Rorschach wasn't a rapist.
I mean the
Freddy
voice.
was.
Oh,
I mean
all
the
right.
voice.
Like, I mean, I've watched Watchmen loads of times. I don't remember that bit, but no, yeah.
But like I don't know if they made a new Freddy Krueger. Like, who do you reckon would make a good one?
I mean, Kevin Bacon would fit because Freddy does have that bacon look about him. But
Kevin Spacey.
Seems
appropriate.
Oh,
Philip Schofield, he's got nothing on his plate right now.
I would pay to see both of those.
like you just snuck in a ledge. Like I was recording a ledge.
Yes.
I had like a legitimate response to that and a funny one, but I'll just go for the legitimate one because I'm not topping that. I always thought I thought Dane DeHaan could make a good Freddy.
Well, you don't see him in much these days.
From did you see the movie Chronicle?
No.
He was the Green Goblin in the Amazing Spider-Man 2. That's probably what.
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
Because he's a really good actor, and like I could see him pulling off like the
Willem
insane
Dafoe.
Freddy stuff. Willem Dafoe would be
yeah.
really fun.
I always thought he'd be a really good Joker.
Yes, he would. He
Yeah.
would. He's possibly a bit old for it now, though.
I mean, if they do the whole multiverse thing, they can just have like multiple Jokers
In what?
in anything DC because they're just
Yeah, I suppose.
because they've got the Flash coming out surely. So like,
Yes, they do. Aye. And that's getting rave reviews, but I can't imagine it's. And Ezra Miller's still in it, and he went and formed a cult. I don't know. Like, what do you need to do in order to be kicked out of a film, man?
I have no idea. I don't know. Be Heather Langenkamp, I guess.
Be a Nazi paedophile.
Callbacks. But
I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy.
oh God.
Oh, we should just do a fan dub of like German Freddy. Gay German Freddy.
If this hits off and becomes a success, someone will do that.
Welcome to
I'll do it.
You'll do it for sure. Yeah. Oh man. Oh.
Dark meat, yeah.
Oh yeah, Freddy gets like really silly like later on. So like you brought this up in the chat as well. Nightmare on Elm Street 2 is like the gayest movie ever made.
Yes.
There is a moment literally where it's like they never say it outright, but it's like a gay teenager is the main character, and I think at the end Freddy literally tears his way out through his body and then reveals himself to another gay teenager, and for some reason they ride a school bus off a cliff. I don't remember much of it.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll do it, but there's a very weird scene where Freddy's like kind of talking to him as well. He's like kind of doming him, and I was like, fuck, this is kind of turning me on. I don't know how I feel about that, but it happened.
I mean, he's not the sexiest of the horror killers, Freddy.
No.
No, but he's got that daddy dom energy about him.
True. Like, who of the like slasher killers, who would you say is the sexiest?
Probably the wee guy for Trick or Treat.
Oh gosh.
I've not seen that film, but I'm assuming it's
It's like a child.
Oh no. Oh,
We've got our next Freddy right here.
I would love to see you as Freddy Krueger.
Oh, well, maybe.
Just let me borrow your sleeves.
Pretty much, yeah. I'll lend you my glove.
Oh, I'm a bit too beefy right now. Yeah, I'll do Freddy. Just
Fuck it, let's have a
bacon
beefy
off my
Krueger.
face.
Like, why not?
Beefy Krueger said something completely different.
Well, to be honest, we probably fucking run the same way.
I mean, there's nothing against the rules that says Freddy has to be a slim guy.
I don't. Are there rules?
Well, I mean, there's rules to surviving horror movies, but we won't get into that.
Beefy Krueger sounds like something you'd look up in Urban Dictionary. It's a horrific sex.
Pedos can be fat too.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, John Wayne Gacy, so.
What civil rights campaign that would be.
I love how I went into this ready to think about like the whole nonce thing of Freddy Krueger. We've just spent most of it naming nonces that could play Freddy Krueger. Like, is that the requirement on the casting sheet now?
We should add that Alan isn't a nonce.
Alan is not a nonce. No. I hope not, otherwise I'll have to find a new co-host.
I mean, that would make the fact that you caught gonorrhea a lot worse. You got it from a kid.
Very bad. We don't do that.
Oh god. So I've got another segment as well. We've kind of vaguely touched upon it in the film, but so we're gonna have a little leaderboard here of what we think is the best kill in this movie, and the one that wins will go on to it. So yeah, I assume you're saying Johnny Depp.
Definitely.
You going
Sex doll.
sex?
100%.
Does she? Do we think she died? Like, was that an actual kill or was that just a dream? Because all her friends are alive again.
That's the one that that's what stops me from calling it a kill, because it's clearly like a whole. They only filmed it because they wanted it to have a sequel.
I think technically the best one from a CGI point of view was Tina, because when she's flying through the air, like, you don't actually see anyone. There's no indication that she isn't moving by herself, and for that time, that is quite impressive.
It's really
But
good
I
special
think
effect.
realistically, if we don't say Glenn, Johnny Depp, if you do get any feedback in the comment section of this, they're all just going to be calling us cunts.
We'll put a poll up, I guess. Yeah, we'll let the fans
What's his
decide
name?
once we get some.
I think I'd have to agree. I do think it's Johnny Depp. I do think it's Glenn.
See, I'm torn between Glenn and Tina. They're both great in like their own ways.
I definitely say Glenn just for that graphic display.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's the one everyone remembers from it as well.
Yeah, but is that because it's Johnny Depp or because it's a good death?
No, because lots of people didn't realise it was Johnny Depp. Like, but my mum's seen that film and she didn't know it was Johnny Depp until I told her the other day.
Johnny Depp in a crop top.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
And a sweater vest. Let's not forget that. The 80s have a lot to fucking answer for fashion-wise.
it's
I'm
very
telling you.
campy, isn't it?
Yeah.
What if it
yeah.
was like the other way around and Nancy was in his room when he died? Like, would she just like turn around and be like, heavy flow?
She's probably just beat on the blood saying like, why didn't you wake me up?
We're just coming to the conclusion that Nancy's a bitch. Everyone in this film is awful.
Oh, yeah.
I love that the mother's just constantly looks like she's trying to remember if she left the oven on. Like, Mum, someone's trying to kill me. Okay.
The putting the bars on her window was a bit much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really
As
know.
if that's going to help you sleep.
I don't know what that was for.
I think it's just so she doesn't run off to like see Glenn or something, but like She can call him.
Let her get her hole.
She has a picture of Glenn in her room, so I imagine her parents approve.
Yeah, well, clearly
They don't
Glenn's
live together.
Glenn's dad doesn't approve.
Yeah. Also, see when she was in that. Well, first of all, going to a bathtub when you're sleep deprived is asking for bother. Genuinely, it's just silly. But her mum broke into that bathroom with a coat hanger. What's her fucking backstory? Why wasn't that? She picked that lock with expert. No wonder the dad fucking left. So she's clearly a criminal thief and an alcoholic, and the dad's just like, who pays for that fucking house?
It's the 80s. They all had houses like that.
That's true.
Tories.
Fucking you ruined the housing market always.
Oh, there was one part I forgot to mention. So midway through, when Nancy's first dealing with Freddy, the prefect in the movie who asked about her hall pass.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was Kristen Wiig, but like not in the 80s.
Yeah, it couldn't have been, yeah.
I always forget.
Yeah.
I see the thumbnail on YouTube, and I always think it's from like an SNL skit. Then it actually showed up in the movie, and I was a bit kind of taken aback.
Because I've seen like that actress still gets people coming up to her today saying "screw your pass."
Well, I mean, has she done anything else?
I don't know.
Imagine that being your. I mean, 15 minutes of fame isn't even. It's like
I would take that.
15 seconds. Yeah, and you get abuse. That's quite a legacy, though. For the rest of your life, people are coming up and saying that stuff to you for 5 seconds of screen time. That's incredible.
So the no running in the hallway thing is pretty cool though, and like Tina in the body bag and stuff. Some pretty good visual horror in this.
It's kind of looking like a fucking condom after sex has gone very wrong, just walking through the hallway.
Yeah, and there's all these like little subtle updates they do to it in the remake. So for Nancy to wake herself up, she burns herself against like the steam thing in the room. In the remake, it's even worse because she's like, they do this thing in the remake, which I thought was surprisingly quite interesting, where they talk about like micro naps. So, you know, when you're so sleep deprived that your body's going in and out of sleep, they use the CGI pretty well in that, like, as she sleeps, you're sort of just, you see Freddy's world and then it flashes back to the real world. And to keep herself up, she stabs her arm with a cigarette lighter.
Oh,
Like, that is...
Stab?
Well, just like, jams it in.
I
Like,
just
you know.
burn yourself, sure.
Yeah, but like that is like the most brutal thing that I remember from the remake. And
ow.
yeah, and
It worked.
It did work, yeah. And there's also this thing they do in it where it's, I don't know if I would find this more interesting or not, but like this was a deleted scene they had for that. So in the final fight with Freddy in the remake, they had him just come out looking like normal Jackie Earl Haley rather than like burnt up Freddy, because they're trying to say the whole thing, oh, like as the guy he was before he was burned, he was already a monster. I don't imagine you could do that with Robert Englund and it would be the same.
No.
It's supposed to be. I can get why they would do that and why they could say that, and the monster is a human after all. But surely the whole point of Freddy's attire is he's this scary fucking
boogeyman kind of guy.
Yeah. And the burning is such a central part to the story, because that's the reason he's fucking radio rental and going around stabbing cunts.
Mm-hmm.
Also, they never said in the film if like they checked if anyone else was in that boiler room.
Yeah.
Could have been the wrong guy. Now he's just pissed off. Like, okay, I'll kill
they
kids.
do play with that in the remake too. They make you think he might be innocent, but at the end it's like, no, he wasn't.
You can't make him look like that and think he's not a pedo.
Yeah.
Somehow he looks creepier when he's just plain old Jackie Earl Haley, though.
Yeah.
That's not a
Whereas
compliment to
Robert
that poor
Englund
man.
is actually, I think Robert Englund's quite handsome, like out of the Freddy makeup, like back in the 80s.
I've only seen him recently, and he's quite old.
Yes,
I mean, I'd said that I got turned on when he was in makeup. So
yeah.
say anything.
did you have anything else you just wanted to bring up? Because we're getting into the wrap up. But
What I'd say in conclusion is it's not scary.
yeah, how many big pumpkins are we giving this out of 5?
I'd say I'd say it's very 80s. It's like more 80s than if the entire cast of Stranger Things got AIDS.
That's a clip. That's a clip.
So it's very of its time, and maybe I'm too old and too autistic to properly enjoy it now, because I'm sitting there like as a guy going, oh, that's impossible, so that's not scary. It was fun to watch. Like I wasn't annoyed that I'd watched it, but I'm not sitting there going, oh, I can't wait to see that again. But
That's why I didn't make you watch the remake.
yeah, honestly, it was quite enjoyable for what it was, but I thought it was more funny than it was frightening. That's the way I would sum up.
Well, I find that with most 80s slashers as well. Like I love Chucky and stuff like that, but you watch that now and I watch it more because it's cool rather than it's scary.
It's almost kitsch now. It's like it's got a cult following, Chucky.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was my nickname in school. I was trying to find the dog. He's up there. But it was based on the.
I mean, you can
Rugrat
bring him
rather-
down if you want.
yeah.
Like
It was based on the Rugrat rather than the.
it's very. I love that both Chucky the Killer Doll and Chucky from Rugrats do look very similar. Like what?
Very different personalities, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, Alan, what would you rate this? Like,
I'd say it's a solid 4 out of 5 for when it was made. I really like the concept, and my favorite thing about it is how Freddy is shown that he could probably just kill anyone on a whim, but he likes to torment his victims first.
yeah, that's a really fun element. It sets them apart from like other killers where it's just they show up and they stab them.
Yeah, great
Yeah.
concept. Led on to a good sequel or two. One of the gayest horror movies ever made. Yeah, I quite like it. He's probably still my favorite slasher icon.
Yeah, he's up there for me. I mean, I'd probably put like Ghostface and Chucky above him just from like personality wise, but yeah, Freddy's like he's iconic for a reason.
Well, as far as pedos go, he's one of my favorites.
Stay tuned for our top 5 Beatles.
No, because we don't want to be stealing this section from Have a Word. So.
No.
I don't know if they have done that. I've not watched Have a Word.
But I'll suggest it to.
I suggest it to your good friend Adam Rowe.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I reckon that'll probably wrap us up. I reckon. Peter, thanks so much for coming on.
It
Where
has
can
been
people
a
find you?
pleasure. It has been a pleasure. Yes, even though I had to watch that film, I'm only joking. It was decent enough. Thanks for having me.
You got anything coming up or anything you want to plug?
I have loads of gigs, but I don't remember when or where they are. So just go
You're
look.
the worst autistic ever.
Where can people follow you?
Pete Bell Comedy on Instagram or Peter Bell Comedian on Facebook, and I'll post all my gigs there some point soon. Yes.
Runs 2 very good gigs in Glasgow, the Salsa Comedy Night and Socky Hall Comedy Club, which I believe it should be coming back soon, right?
Yes, hopefully we're speaking to a few places trying to get that sorted. Yes, so hopefully we'll get that all up and running.
Both incredible nights. Alan, where can we find you?
You can find me at Alan J, that's Jay Comedy, on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Grindr.
I'll get on that right away. And you can find me at Dean T. Beirne. That's Beirne for anyone who wants to have a crack at how my name is spelt.
Yes, thank you for pronouncing it correctly as well. It's Beirne. Beirne.
I got brought on as Dean T. Bean again last night.
Beirne, I've heard that.
Yeah, Biryani.
Oh, that's quite nice.
It's borderline racist, but when you used to live in Dubai.
But you can also follow this pod at Blood, Sweat and Fears pretty much everywhere over Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Vine, if that's still a thing. I don't know. I'll bring it back.
I did forget, actually, I do have a YouTube called That Ginger Guy and a TikTok.
Oh, yeah.
But I can't a Big Pumpkin, I think it is
Big
actually on TikTok.
We should probably explain that why your nickname is Big Pumpkin.
It's not as entertaining a story as because it was just a guy who was stoned with multicolored hair. Dean, we were at an open mic. Dean was wearing a Smashing Pumpkins shirt.
Favorite band.
And the guy came up to him to say, "I'm a big Pumpkins fan," and shake his hand, but he left far too big a gap between Pumpkins and fan. So he just walked up, shook Dean's hand, and said, "I'm a big pumpkin." So me and Kyle were just pissing ourselves with laughter. And Kyle just went, "That could be your nickname." And I was like, "Or it couldn't," but now it is. So that's the origin story of Big Pumpkin. It's
I think it sums you up pretty well, I think.
At least you get interesting nicknames. Big Pumpkin, the Glasgow Kid. I just get Alan J.
Fucking hell. I would love that nickname to go away. Like, when are people going to forget about that?
Never.
Yeah, excellent. Yes.
It's fine.
If I do a bit about it, will it just can I just bury it? Like,
No. It's like you're not used to having male friends.
I'm not. Most of my friends were girls growing up.
If you have something and we know you don't like it, we're going to keep talking about it forever and ever and ever.
You know what? This is what I want to see in the next Nightmare movie. I want Freddy to kill the part of me that is the Glasgow Kid. What does that nightmare look like?
No, he just gets smashed by a buckyball like some bad. That's the point. Like he's not going to get away with this in Figi, is he? You know,
Nah, the nightmare scenario would just be like me doing one of my old bits that I don't do anymore, and Freddy's just in the audience going boo.
Or you finally get on like live at the Apollo and they introduce you as the Glasgow Kid.
Oh, that would be the worst fucking.
Oh, I'm going to do everything in my power to make that happen.
Oh, and I know you would, because you're the exact kind of person who would find the cunt who books live at the Apollo and be like, by the way, bring him on as this.
Look, Kyle had me brought on at Hot Water Comedy as Big Pumpkin, so
It is amazing. I'm going to put the link to that in the description, actually. It is excellent.
fuck. And Dean's MCing tomorrow as well in Leeds, and he was the one that did it then, and he's almost certainly going to do it.
Oh, fuck yeah, it's beautiful. Well, I think that'll about wrap us up. Thanks so much for watching, and do all the YouTube stuff. I'm not going to say the whole thing because people know where the fucking subscribe button is, but
Yeah.
hopefully this is a success, and we'll bring on some more comics, more horror people. I think we've got something good here, guys.
Yes.
Good.
Do like and share it if you like it, because sharing videos
Yeah.
on any platform makes a huge difference. So just share stuff, man, if you like it. Don't know why I called you man. Don't know why I'm still doing a piece to camera.